Chosen ones, today I want to share something extraordinary, a message about a time of transformation, renewal, and alignment with God's divine purpose. This isn't just another year ahead of us. 2025 is a milestone, moment charged with spiritual significance, a turning point for those who feel God's call in their hearts. It's a year unlike any other, one that carries a powerful energy urging us to reflect, act, and embrace the higher purpose we were created for. Have you felt it? That quiet, persistent sense that something significant is on the horizon? It's not easy to put into words, but deep down, you know it's there, a shift, a stirring, a call to prepare for what's next. This is no coincidence. It is God's hand at work, aligning the cycles of our lives with His greater plan. This year, 2025, is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a year when divine cycles and spiritual symbols converge to guide us. It's a call to step into the fullness of who we are, to let go of the old, and to embrace the new that God is preparing for us. Together, we will explore why 2025 is so significant for the chosen ones, and how we can prepare to live out this year with wisdom, faith, and purpose. As we begin, let us root ourselves in the promise of Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These words remind us that God's plans are always good, and His timing is always perfect. This is a year to align our lives with His purpose, to leave behind what no longer serves us, and to step boldly into the future He has prepared. So, chosen ones, are you ready? Ready to uncover the deeper truths of 2025? To understand the cycles, the symbols, and the transformation that awaits us? Stay with me, because together, we will prepare to embrace this extraordinary season of growth, renewal, and alignment with God's divine will. 2025 is a year charged with profound spiritual energy, marked by the significance of the number 9. This number carries a deep symbolism of wisdom, completion, and renewal. It is a divine call to reflect, release, and embrace transformation. The number 9 reminds us that as one cycle ends, a new one begins. It is a sacred invitation to examine our lives, identify what no longer aligns with God's purpose, and let go with faith, knowing He is preparing something greater for us. Picture it as clearing the soil of your spiritual garden, removing the weeds of doubt, fear, or old habits to make way for the seeds of God's new plans. 2025 also calls us to live in truth, to align our actions with the authenticity that God desires. This is not just about external truth but an inward illumination. Hidden truths, both in the world around us and within ourselves, will be revealed. God's light will shine into the corners of our hearts, exposing what needs to change, not to shame or condemn but to set us free. Living in truth means walking with integrity, shedding masks, and embracing the person God has created us to be. Though this process of truth can feel uncomfortable, it is ultimately liberating, for in truth, we align with God's divine will and allow His purpose to flow through us. The energy of the number 9 also emphasizes generosity and altruism. It reminds us that serving others is not just about grand gestures but about small, consistent acts of kindness. A kind word, a comforting presence, or even a simple prayer can plant seeds of hope and healing in someone's life. God calls us to shine His light, as reflected in Matthew 5 verse 16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." These daily acts of compassion, done with sincerity, carry the power to transform lives and bring glory to God. As we step into 2025, the energy of this number challenges us to persist in faith and love. It asks us to leave behind what weighs us down and embrace a life rooted in wisdom, truth, and service. By doing so, we align with God's purpose and prepare ourselves for the transformative blessings this year holds. This is not just another year, it is a divine milestone, a call to step fully into the purpose that God has laid before us. The symbolism of the wood snake in 2025 offers profound spiritual insights that call us to reflect, renew, and align ourselves with God's divine plan. The snake, revered across cultures as a symbol of transformation and wisdom, holds a unique message for those chosen to walk the path of faith and purpose. In its most significant act, shedding its skin, the snake demonstrates the necessity of letting go. For us, this means shedding habits, fears, and thoughts that no longer serve our spiritual growth or align with God's will. Just as the snake's shedding allows it to grow, we are called to release the old, making space for new beginnings and the blessings God has in store for us. This process of renewal is deeply spiritual. It requires honesty, courage, and a willingness to confront what holds us back. It might mean forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, letting go of relationships that hinder our growth, or breaking free from patterns that keep us stagnant. Renewal is not about forgetting the past but about learning from it and moving forward with greater clarity and purpose. The shedding process is a symbolic act of surrender, where we trust that God is reshaping us into vessels better equipped to fulfill His work. Beyond transformation, the wood snake also represents wisdom and intuition, qualities vital for navigating the complexities of life. The snake's deliberate, calculated movements remind us to approach life with reflection and discernment. It calls us to pause, seek God's guidance, and plan our steps wisely. This wisdom is not of human origin, it is divine. It comes from spending time in prayer, meditating on His Word, and listening for the quiet whispers of His Spirit. Intuition, when guided by God, becomes a powerful tool that helps us discern the right path, especially when circumstances seem unclear. It is a reminder that God often speaks subtly, through feelings, thoughts, or signs, guiding us toward His greater purpose. However, the introspective nature of the snake carries a warning. While reflection is essential, the snake's solitary tendencies remind us of the danger of isolating ourselves too much. In our pursuit of spiritual growth, we may sometimes withdraw from others, seeking solace in solitude. Yet God did not create us to journey alone. He calls us to live in communion with one another, sharing our experiences, supporting each other, and growing together in faith. Isolation, if unchecked, can lead to feelings of disconnection and loneliness. It is through our relationships with others, fellow believers, family, and friends, that we find strength, encouragement, and the collective wisdom to face life's challenges. The balance between introspection and connection is vital. While we need moments of solitude to hear God's voice and reflect on His plans, we must also remain open to the community He has placed around us. Together, we are stronger, capable of achieving more for His kingdom than we ever could alone. In our interactions, we can learn, inspire, and support one another, creating a ripple effect of God's love and light in the world. The lessons of the wood snake go even deeper. Its symbolism reminds us that transformation is not merely external, it is an internal process of aligning our hearts, minds, and actions with God's will. It calls us to look inward, to confront our flaws, and to allow God to mold us into better versions of ourselves. This inner transformation equips us to step into our purpose with confidence, clarity, and faith. It prepares us to face challenges, embrace opportunities, and live out the unique mission God has entrusted to each of us. Ultimately, the teachings of the wood snake challenge us to embrace the duality of transformation and connection, introspection and action. It calls us to shed what holds us back, to grow in wisdom and intuition, and to stay rooted in the community of faith. As we step into 2025, let us carry these lessons with us, allowing them to shape our journey. With God as our guide, we can navigate the year ahead with courage, grace, and unwavering trust in His divine plan. This is the essence of the wood snake's wisdom, a call to live with purpose, grow through renewal, and walk together in faith. As we step into 2025, we are called to embrace one of the most powerful spiritual truths: in God's divine design, every ending holds the promise of a new beginning. To grow into the purpose He has planned for us, we must first release the past. This means identifying the habits, relationships, and attitudes that no longer align with His will for our lives. These cycles of letting go are not always easy, but they are essential for spiritual renewal. Hebrews 12 verse 1 reminds us of this call: let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. This is not about losing something, it's about creating space for the new and abundant blessings God has prepared. Closing old cycles requires introspection and courage. It means acknowledging areas of our lives where we've been holding on out of fear or comfort, even when those things no longer serve us. Perhaps it's a relationship that has grown toxic, a mindset rooted in doubt, or a habit that keeps us from growing spiritually. God is calling us to release these burdens, not as a punishment but as a preparation for something greater. Like a sculptor chiseling away what does not belong to reveal the masterpiece within, God uses this process to refine us. This act of releasing mirrors the work of a gardener preparing the soil for a new season. Just as weeds must be removed to allow room for healthy growth, we must clear away negativity, fear, and unresolved pain from our hearts. These weeds can choke the seeds of God's blessings if left unchecked. Clearing the soil is not easy, it requires humility and trust. But as we surrender these burdens to God, we make room for His transformative work in our lives. Forgiveness is a cornerstone of this renewal. To truly step into the new, we must forgive, not just others but also ourselves. Forgiveness is not about condoning what happened, it's about releasing its hold on our hearts. When we let go of resentment and bitterness, we create space for peace, joy, and healing. Forgiveness allows God's grace to flow freely within us, enabling us to move forward without the weight of the past dragging us down. Gratitude is another essential tool in this process. When we reflect on the past with a lens of thankfulness, we begin to see how even the challenges have shaped us. Gratitude allows us to recognize God's hand in every moment, the trials that refined us, the blessings that sustained us, and the lessons that prepared us for what's ahead. This perspective not only strengthens our faith but also fills us with hope for the future. Yet renewal is not just about letting go, it is also about planting new seeds. 2025 is a year to act with intention, to sow seeds that reflect God's love, truth, and light. These seeds may take the form of new projects, acts of service, or commitments to spiritual growth. They may involve reaching out to those in need, pursuing a calling that aligns with God's purpose, or simply choosing to live each day with kindness and compassion. Every small action, when done with faith, has the potential to create ripples of transformation. Starting anew requires courage and consistency. Just as a gardener nurtures their crops daily, we are called to tend to these new beginnings with diligence. Small, faith-filled actions, a kind word, a helping hand, or a daily moment of prayer, can have an impact far beyond what we can see. These seemingly simple acts, done with love and intention, carry the power to change lives. Galatians 6 verse 9 reminds us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." This year also calls us to step into our God-given creativity and vision. Planting new seeds involves imagining a future that aligns with His plan. What do we hope to grow? How can we use our gifts to glorify Him and uplift others? This is a time to dream boldly, trusting that God's provision will sustain us as we pursue His will. It's important to remember that every ending is an opportunity for growth, and every new beginning holds the promise of God's abundant blessings. Closing old cycles is not about denying the past, it's about learning from it, expressing gratitude for the lessons it brought, and moving forward with hope and purpose. As we release what no longer serves us, we are not losing, we are preparing ourselves to receive more than we could ever imagine. 2025 is a year to embrace this divine process of endings and beginnings. It's a time to clear the soil of our hearts, plant seeds of faith and love, and nurture them with consistent, intentional action. By doing so, we align ourselves with God's plan, becoming vessels of His light and love in a world that deeply needs it. The seeds we plant today will grow into a harvest of blessings, not just for ourselves but for everyone touched by our faithfulness. Let us step into this year with open hearts, ready to embrace the transformation that God has in store. 2025 is a year of profound spiritual significance, and with it comes the opportunity for growth through challenges and transformation. However, embracing this transformation requires faith and courage to overcome the doubts and fears that naturally arise. It is human to crave clarity, to want to see the entire path before taking the first step. Yet, as 2 Corinthians 5 verse 7 reminds us, we live by faith, not by sight. This scripture captures the essence of what it means to trust God even when we cannot see the full picture. Doubt and fear often creep in when the road ahead feels uncertain, whispering that we might fail or that we are not enough. But these feelings are not meant to defeat us, they are tools that God uses to draw us closer to Him. They challenge us to lean on His strength rather than our own understanding. Consider the story of Peter stepping out of the boat to walk on water. The storm raged, and fear could have kept him inside where it was safe. Yet, Peter trusted Jesus enough to take that first step. Though he faltered, it was his faith, however imperfect, that allowed him to experience the miracle. Similarly, in 2025, God calls us to step out of our comfort zones. Transformation does not come from remaining in the familiar. It requires the courage to face the unknown and to trust that God's plans for us are good, even when we do not have all the answers. He promises in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These challenges we face are not obstacles meant to destroy us, they are stepping stones designed to refine us. Resistance often arises during times of transformation. This resistance may come from external circumstances, people around us, or even within ourselves. It is tempting to view these difficulties as signs that we are on the wrong path, but the truth is quite the opposite. Resistance is a sign that we are moving towards something meaningful. Just as a diamond is formed under immense pressure, our spiritual growth often comes through the challenges we endure. Every moment of resistance is an opportunity for growth. Through these trials, God strengthens our character, teaches us perseverance, and builds our resilience. Romans 5 verses 3-4 beautifully explains this process. We also glory in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. Each difficulty we face is shaping us into the person God created us to be, equipping us with the strength we need to fulfill His purpose. God does not allow resistance to come into our lives without also providing the tools to overcome it. He equips us with His strength, which is made perfect in our weakness, and offers His wisdom to guide us through life's complexities. When we feel overwhelmed, we can hold on to the truth of Philippians 4 verse 13, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." This verse reminds us that we are never alone in our struggles. God is with us, empowering us to move forward despite the challenges. While facing resistance, it is essential to find the balance between reflection and action. Reflection allows us to pause, seek God's guidance, and align our plans with His will. It gives us clarity and ensures that our steps are rooted in His purpose. However, reflection must be paired with decisive action. Too much introspection can lead to paralysis, where fear and doubt keep us from taking the next step. On the other hand, acting without reflection can lead us off course. The key is to trust that as we act in faith, God will provide clarity and direction. Consider the Israelites at the edge of the Red Sea, trapped between the water and the advancing Egyptian army. Fear and uncertainty gripped them, but God called them to move forward. It was only when they took that first step of faith that the waters parted, revealing the path ahead. This story is a powerful reminder that God often waits for us to demonstrate our trust before He unveils the way forward. Challenges are not merely obstacles to be overcome, they are divine opportunities to deepen our faith and grow closer to God. Each trial we face strengthens our spiritual foundation, equipping us for the greater purpose He has prepared. The difficulties of 2025 are part of God's refining work, shaping us to become vessels of His love and light in the world. As we navigate the year ahead, let us approach these challenges with a spirit of hope and perseverance. Let us remember that God's strength is sufficient, His timing is perfect, and His plans are for our good. Every difficulty, no matter how daunting, is an opportunity to grow in wisdom, character, and faith. So, when doubt and fear arise, lean into God's promises. When resistance comes, trust that it is part of the process. When the path seems unclear, take the first step in faith, knowing that God is guiding your every move. Transformation requires both reflection and action, both stillness in His presence and bold steps into the unknown. This balance is what allows us to move forward with confidence, knowing that we are walking in God's purpose. 2025 is a year of profound opportunity. Embrace the challenges it brings, not as barriers but as blessings in disguise. Let these moments refine you, draw you closer to God, and prepare you for the incredible purpose He has set before you. You are not alone, He is with you, every step of the way. The spiritual symbolism of the number 9 and the snake is a profound message that resonates deeply as we prepare for the transformative year of 2025. Together, these symbols carry an invitation to embrace renewal, wisdom, and alignment with God's divine plan, reminding us that change is not only necessary but an essential part of our spiritual journey. The number 9, often regarded as the culmination of cycles, holds the essence of spiritual maturity and wisdom. It marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, urging us to reflect on our past, learn from it, and prepare for what lies ahead. It is a number that calls us to release what no longer serves our spiritual purpose, whether that be outdated habits, negative thought patterns, or relationships that hinder our growth. By letting go of the old, we create space for new blessings, fresh opportunities, and a deeper connection with God's purpose for our lives. 9 also teaches us about the power of compassion and generosity. This number encourages us to act with kindness and love, not only in grand, visible ways but also in the small, consistent gestures that often go unnoticed. It's a call to live out God's love in our daily lives, being a source of encouragement and hope to those around us. A smile, a word of comfort, or a simple act of service can have a profound impact, planting seeds of transformation in the hearts of others. As Matthew 5 verse 16 reminds us, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." The number 9 challenges us to embody this verse, to be vessels of God's grace in a world that needs it now more than ever. But 9 is not just about endings and generosity, it is also about wisdom. True wisdom comes not from accumulating knowledge but from applying it with love and humility. The number 9 reflects the wisdom of someone who has walked through life's trials, learned from them, and now uses that understanding to guide others. It calls us to act with integrity, to live in truth, and to align our actions with God's will. This wisdom, when coupled with compassion, becomes a powerful tool for bringing light to the darkest corners of the world. Complementing the lessons of the number 9 is the profound symbolism of the snake. Often misunderstood, the snake represents transformation, renewal, and spiritual growth. Just as a snake sheds its old skin to make room for new growth, we too are called to shed the layers of our lives that no longer serve our purpose. This might involve releasing fears, forgiving past hurts, or letting go of attachments that hold us back. The shedding process is not easy. It requires courage, faith, and trust in God's plan, but it is essential for our spiritual evolution. The snake also symbolizes wisdom and intuition, inviting us to slow down, reflect, and listen to God's voice within us. In a world filled with distractions, the snake teaches us the value of introspection and the importance of seeking clarity in our decisions. Its wisdom is deliberate and thoughtful, reminding us to act not out of impulse but with a deep understanding of God's purpose. This calls for strategic planning and faith, trusting that God will guide our steps even when the path ahead is unclear. However, the snake's introspective nature also serves as a caution. While solitude and reflection are vital for spiritual growth, they must not lead to isolation. The snake reminds us that we are created for community, for connection with others who share our faith and purpose. It is in communion with one another that we find strength, encouragement, and the ability to fulfill God's greater plan. Balancing introspection with fellowship ensures that we grow not only as individuals but also as part of a collective body of believers, united in our mission to bring God's light to the world. When we consider the number 9 and the snake together, we see a powerful blueprint for 2025, a year of profound transformation, spiritual renewal, and divine alignment. The number 9 challenges us to close cycles with grace, to live with compassion, and to step into new beginnings with courage and faith. The snake calls us to embrace the process of renewal, to listen to God's guidance, and to act with wisdom and intention. Together, they remind us that transformation is not a passive experience but an active journey that requires trust, resilience, and a willingness to surrender to God's plan. As we step into this new season, let us carry the lessons of these symbols in our hearts. Let us approach the year with open hands, ready to release what no longer serves us and embrace the blessings God has prepared. Let us seek wisdom in our decisions, compassion in our actions, and faith in every step we take. And above all, let us remember that we are not alone in this journey. God walks with us, guiding, strengthening, and shaping us for His divine purpose. This is the promise and the challenge of 2025, to trust in the process, to embrace transformation, and to live fully in alignment with God's will. 2025 is not just another year, it is a sacred invitation from God to transform, renew, and align ourselves with His divine purpose. It is a time to reflect deeply on our lives, shed what no longer serves us, and embrace the new blessings and opportunities He has prepared. This year calls us to live as instruments of His love and light, to walk boldly in faith, and to trust in His perfect plan. As we step into this new season, I encourage you to pause and ask yourself, what are you ready to leave behind in 2025? What old habits, fears, or burdens will you release to make room for God's purpose? And just as importantly, what seeds will you plant for the future? How will you live out your faith, spread His love, and shine His light in a world that so desperately needs it? Your reflections matter. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story, your journey, could inspire someone else to embrace God's call in their own life. Together, as a community of faith, we can encourage and uplift one another, preparing to step boldly into the future that God has designed for us. If this message has touched your heart, take a moment to subscribe to this channel. Share it with other chosen ones so that we can spread this message of hope and transformation far and wide. Let's prepare for 2025 together, united in purpose and guided by faith. As we close, may God bless you and guide you through this year of transformation. May He give you the courage to release the old, the strength to embrace the new, and the wisdom to walk in alignment with His will. Together, let us step boldly into the future, trusting that His plans are good and His love never fails. The journey ahead is extraordinary, and with God leading the way, we cannot fail. Let's walk this path with faith, hope, and love, bringing His light into every corner of our lives.